Hey guys, welcome to my video. Today I'll be talking about the Titans and which one should you get. I mean, I won't give you the answer, but I will kind of discuss every single Titan build except for the hybrid ones because that would just make it insane. And first of all, let's look at this one. It's called the Kid and you should have this one in your hangar already. So it's the most basic Titan and this is the one that Pixonic gave us in the beginning as like our basic one to start off. And make sure you don't upgrade this one right away because obviously the platinums are very expensive and it's difficult to grind for them. So don't upgrade this one right away. Do some research and know what's out there. Unless you feel that this is the one and you don't feel like spending or grinding for the platinum, go ahead and upgrade this one or just save platinum to be safe. Let's look at this setup though, the basic setup that we get. It's the machine gun setup, and let's look at the strength and the weakness. So you already have this in your hangar, so that's the strength. You already acquired it, and if you used it, you'll know that it's a pretty decent brawler, and it's great against damage resistance robots like Leech and the Phantom and the Falcon especially. Just like other machine guns, as you get closer, you do more damage. So that's why I said it was a great brawler, and it's pretty easy to aim. But with this Titan, I think it's more important to look at the weaknesses. It has an extreme counter, so the Ember, for example, Ember Aljun or any type of Aljun will just melt this thing, and you can't do anything about it. And that's the frustrating part of running this Titan. And especially with another Titan called the Arthur, with its thick shield, you basically don't do anything against that bot with this setup. And it has a weak firepower, and you might say, well, it's the same as the Arthur, but you won't be able to use the alpha weapon called the Vengeance unless you activate your ability, and there's a cooldown for it, so you don't always get to use it. And so it gets easily targeted, and that's the obvious one. Let's look at the next one though. So this one that you're seeing right now, it's Kid with Tsar and Rupture. So this weapon setup is basically like Columbus and Pin for the Titans. So the strengths are obviously splash damage. It's a powerful mid-range, just like how you expect, and it's great against other regular robots. And you already have this in your hangar, so all you have to acquire is those weapons. And since I think the Kid is the weakest Titan of all three, I think it's more important to know the weakness more than its strengths. And it's easy target against other Titans. It can brawl against regular robots, but it cannot brawl against other Titans because of its firepower being so weak. There is stove effect, which is pretty decent against regular robots that are hiding in cover and that are close enough. However, it obviously isn't the best Titan out there, but you also have to consider that you have to acquire these weapons, and for that price you can basically get like a standard Ming. And on to the next one. So this build, I don't know how to pronounce the weapons, so that will be passed. So basically this weapon is like Dragoons for the Titans, and each weapons, whether it's alpha or beta, they cost 700 platinum. So think carefully if you're thinking about this build. Strength 600 meter range, possibly counter to other Titans, but keep in mind that it's a mediocre counter, and great against regular robots in a way that it's a powerful mid-range and instant hit. If you haven't used the Dragoons before, you would know there's not much time to react. And the weaknesses are, so cannot counter all the Titans, even with the 600 meter range. It's not a great brawler. Weapon cost is really expensive. You can basically get 3 Ming for the price of acquiring each of those weapons. So personally I would say cost to performance ratio, I think it would be the lowest one of every single Titans out there. On the next, I'll be talking about the Arthur, and This is basically like the big daddy of Brit bots, and obviously it's got the phalanx mode. You could use it like Bulgasari, but if you use the phalanx mode, you can use the weapon because obviously you face the enemies and block their weapons at the same time. Once you go into the phalanx mode, your speed decreases by 20% and its normal speed is slower than the kid, but it doesn't matter because of the shield. You rarely see the shield break, which is pretty incredible. And obviously with the booster, shield booster, it would just bump it up to a nightmare. And so basically this is the standard version of the Arthur with the machine gun, vengeance, and retaliator. And let's look at the strengths. It's the ultimate tank brawler. You thought it was the Falcon? No, it's not the Falcon. Now it's the Arthur. Because of its mechanism of the shield, you can put it forward and then use the weapons at the same time. It's very flexible. You can play the mid-range as well without getting hurt, and it can handle the strongest meta robot at the moment, which is the Leech, Storm Leech, Corona Leech. So it doesn't really mess around, and with the Blast Wave, it takes down Leech really easy. So it can also counter most Titan builds except for the ones that are Rupture and Retaliate. Not the Retaliator, Tsar, yeah. So it's also a great beacon defender because of the shield and how defensive it is. Shield at its max level is just incredible. I just rarely see it break. Let's look at its weakness though. Basically it does have extreme counter, such as like Ember out June, because Ember bypasses all type of shield except for the Retribution shield. And Tsar, Rupture, Titan, any type of Tsar, Rupture, Titan can be a nightmare for this build. And on to the next. This is Tsar with the Rupture on Arthur, and basically is the counter to the previous Titan that we discussed. And the strength for this is it can counter most Titans, except for Ming with the Dragoons. The splash damage is great in the current meta. Surprisingly, it can brawl because how strong the weapons are, and it's a powerful mid-range. Oh, about the brawling on the previous point, you always have to remember that Arthur has Blast Wave that kind of goes past through the damage, the resistance on robots. It's a powerful mid-range, yet it's a great beacon defender. So I would expect to see this quite a bit in like the top tier clan play. Weakness for this is that it has an extreme counter, just like the previous build. Because it's an Arthur with a physical shield, any type of fire weapon will be a counter, or even Ming with this weapon configuration will be an extreme counter. The next one is obviously the Dragoon version of the Arthur, and I think this will definitely get like a split opinion on this build. So let's look at the strengths. Okay, so it can counter the strongest Titan, that which is basically the Ming with the Dragoons. I definitely don't think that this build is for everyone, and for those who play clan battles, you'll see people run this because they really want to counter the Ming with the Dragoons. And the weaknesses are it's difficult to brawl. Weapons are very expensive. I personally prefer other weapon setups on the Arthur, but if you have like a purpose for this build, then it's a good build. If you don't, so it's very situational. So the last Titan is the Ming, and you might be wondering, if you haven't used the Ming before, if you don't know how the Ming works, you might be thinking, why is that guy in the air for like ever? It's because he can. The Ming can. He's not a hacker. So this is very interesting because it has a ability to fly and use all 4 of its weapon. When it's on the ground, you can only use 2 alpha weapons, and you can heal without using the power cell. basically free healing. So this is what you get if you acquire an Ming. You basically get Vengeance and Retaliator as your basic weapon, just like all the other Titans. And let's look at the strengths. It can brawl, obviously, because how machine guns work. As you get closer, you do more damage. And I want to say that it can brawl and play mid-range at the same time, not because of its weapons, but more because of its mobility and how it's in the air. You get that steep shooting angle, and it's really good to brawl and play mid-range. And it lasts long. What I mean by that is it survives for a long time because of its healing ability, and you really save power cells. You get hit, you heal, and just free heal. That's the ability of this robot, and it's great against regular bots and even the Titans, so keep that in mind. And let's look at some weaknesses. And yeah, it's expensive. It's the most expensive Titan out there. And Ming with however you pronounce that, with the Dragoons, it's a nightmare. So basically keeping 600 meter against the machine gun Ming isn't that hard, and it cannot defend beacon against Titans like Arthur. Okay, on the next is the Ruptured Tsar Ming, and I think it's a great one to have in squad, in your clan. If you're running full squad in your clan, I think it's a great one. And I personally think this is the most fun one to run. And obviously because of the splash, it's crazy. It can counter the Arthur. Steep angle provides you great shots. Great deal with, it deals great with most Titans. Credible firepower. Yeah, it's just powerful mid-range. And let's look at some of its weaknesses. It's expensive, and again, same with the previous Ming build. The Ming Dragoon is a nightmare against this. It's not difficult to keep that 600 meter range. And again, it's not like the most efficient beacon defender, so keep that in mind as well. And final Titan build. So this is like the ultimate build, I would say. It's the Dragoon version of the Ming, and let's look at its strengths. 600 meter range. It's got the most range out of any type of weapon, Titan weapons. It possibly can counter other Titans great against regular bots. Powerful mid-range. It's a powerful mid-range. Incredible firepower, can counter other Ming builds, like I said before, how it was a nightmare for them. And the weaknesses are it cannot defend a beacon efficiently against the Arthur, but I do have a mixed feeling about this, because having that much range, you're wearing down the Arthur and taking a lot of Arthur's attention away from like a distance. And if any one of your teammates attack and Arthur just tweaks on the side, it's doing damage, splash, splash, splash. And it's the most expensive setup of all, most expensive weapons, and the Titan acquiring price is also the most expensive. So I think it's 700 platinum per piece. This definitely could have been a boring video for you because there wasn't any gameplay, and it's just me talking, a guy named Kitty WR just talking on the internet. But acquiring platinum is very difficult at the moment. I hope they somehow make it more accessible and grindable in the future. But at the moment, you might have just enough to acquire Ming, for example, and you're kind of wondering whether you should get the Arthur. So if you're wondering about that, me having been able to use all of them, I hope I was contributing to your decision. And as far as gameplay, if you subscribe to my channel, I've been recently doing quite a bit of Titan videos, so check out my channel and go through some of my videos, and you'll see Titan gameplay. So thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe for future videos. So see you guys on the next video.